That is just straight up insane by the fact that we literally got a 50-50 on who should be the next character to get interviewed. And bro, my gun knowledge, I'll be doing both characters, both Shitcole and the M4A1. Now, there's a distributor of the lore. His backstory is unknown, but what we have known is that, let me pull up the list real quick. So, he's 21 years old. Actually, wait, no, this video. He's 21 years old. The video was created 3 years ago. So, in 2022, so in 2022, he's 21. He's 26 years old in around 26 to 25 years old in 2026, I'm not sure, but his height is 6'5", he's a pure-blooded werewolf, he's single and has no siblings. Shitcole is 21 years old in 2020, so yeah, he's in his 20s. He's 6'5", and he's a pure-blooded werewolf. This is also the same werewolf that turned Toby into a werewolf as well. However, ever since the lore has changed, he's not the bad guy anymore, so good on him. Now, we do not know much about Shitcole, to be honest. However, we can go to his transformation video, which I'm finding it. Where the yeah, okay, found it. So okay, guys, so I'm saying this from the old lore, from Toby's old backstory. He has new lore, just to let you know, which means in the new lore, Shitcole is not the bad guy anymore. So yeah, but we're still gonna talk about his transformation. So the year, I'm guessing, is somewhere in 2022 during the pandemic. I do not know why he still lives with his parents, even though he's like almost 30 years old by now. I mean, he's 31 back at 2023, but now he's like 26 in this year, or 27 even. I'm surprised he's not even 30 yet, but yeah, basically, he looks up, full moon, he gets cooked over, transformation starts, and it's pretty short. I mean, it's just a 3-minute video. Yeah, he grows. Self-explanatory. He transforms, and the most unique part about this is that at the end of the video, we could actually see Toby. I do not know why he's just walking on his phone, like just looking at it, and then later he just gets jumped by Shitcole. That's how he became a werewolf, as what we knew today. Now, skipping that, let's go to my most favorite one, the M4A1, which landed on a 50-50. Now, if the rates for some reason increase, I'm making this during the 50-50 moment. So, if let's say Shitcole won the vote, well then too late, because I'm making this video when it was just still on 50-50. So yeah, sorry, but this is gonna be my most favorite part. The M4A1 is a 5.56 x 45mm or 5.56 NATO weapon. It's a successor to the oldest variant of the 5.56 cartridge, aka the M16. The M16 was a firearm used by the US forces during the Vietnam War, and it was meant to replace the M14 from infantry classes to marksmen, which means marksmen also do use the M16. However, the M14 is still heavily used by civilians and US forces even for its accuracy and reliability, simplicity, and the fact that it has a heavier caliber, which means heavier damage, because the M14 is chambered in 7.62 NATO. Now, before the M4A1, there was another variant of the M16A1 before that, the M16A2, and then later, I guessing somewhere in the 1990s, a Delta Force operator entering a close tight quarters combat area was using a thing known as the CAR-15, collapsible stock, shorter barrel, which is similar to the M4A1. which it's actually not the M4A1. The M4A1 was made somewhere in 1998. This probably took place somewhere in 1995. So the weapon that the Delta Force operator was using was a Car 15, or what we like to call it, the Code 723, which it has the same thing with the M4A1. However, the M4A1 is a more modularized variant, being able to have a 30-round magazine, can shoot full auto, and has also Picatinny rails for attachments. It has been the standard issue assault rifle in the U.S. Armed Forces, even though the M27, known as the HK416, despite it replacing the M4, it's still heavily used by U.S. Armed Forces today. Yeah, this is kind of just a straightforward video, but yeah, that's about it. Okay, now we have gotten to the final showdown. How can an M4A1 kill Shitcole? Now, assuming that we're going by mythology standards, like for example, Shitcole being immune to modern bullets can only be killed by silver-like materials, including silver bullets to be exact. The gun actually doesn't have to be silver. The M4A1, of course, it will probably jam from the silver thingy or whatever it is, but basically, you need a silver tip round to kill Shitcole. And assuming that a 5.56 NATO round is an intermediate cartridge, which it is, can pierce through his skin, it's most likely probably gonna do a lot of damage to him. However, the bullet, you need a custom bullet made out of silver put into a normal casing. Now, the entire bullet does not have to be silver or cartridge. I'm trying to say cartridge. A cartridge is basically a bullet and a casing together. The casing is what gets ejected out of the gun. The bullet needs to be covered completely in silver. And fun fact, if you put in a copper tip, which is used as armor piercing rounds, not only you will be able to penetrate the thick fur that Shitcole has, the silver can also physically kill him. Now, assuming that Toby is very big, it would take approximately, like, I'm not sure how many shots, but probably like 5 silver bullets. However, if you want to really kill him, you have to aim for the head specifically.
Forward march!
And this really depends on the shooter that is using the M4A1. Like, for example, it could be just a normal civilian, police officer, or ex-military, or just a hunter, personally. But we're going to pick U.S. Armed Forces here. So let's say that guy's a retired U.S. Marine with the M4, and he sees Shitcole about to, infect Toby. Now, obviously, assuming that he will aim the gun and then shoot Shitcole, assuming that Toby will not get scratched in the process, but the gunshot might scare Shitcole away, it's most likely gonna prevent a canon event from happening, where there's a canon event where Toby is infected, and Toby getting bitten by a werewolf spreads, which is kind of similar to a virus, or what we like to call it. Now, if we take a look at the M4A1 Eternals, since it uses a normal gas impingement system rather than the HK's or SCAR-L's short stroke gas piston, there's gonna be tons of problems. First of all, the silver thingy might, end up in the barrel's gas system, which might lead to the gun jamming. And because of the bullets being silver, of course it generates, I'm not sure what it is, but which can cause immediate physical and ballistic changes in both the weapon and its performance due to the material difference between silver and standard lead core ammunition. So the effects on the M4A1 is that it will increase barrel wear, because silver is significantly harder than lead, which means it does not deform easily when engaged the firing. Firing pure silver rounds would dramatically accelerate the wear and tear on the steel's barrel internal grooves, which means you might have to change the barrel after continuous fire. But because silver is hard to etch into the rifling, it creates more friction, travels down the bore. This consumes more energy from the propellant, causing a slower muzzle velocity compared to the standard 2,970 feet a second of an M855 round. Now, there are also pressure risks in the silver bullet, because if the silver bullet is slightly oversized due to the silver having higher terminal expansion slash contracts during or casting, it may cause dangerous pressure spikes within the chamber that may damage the rifle's action, which means it's most likely gonna jam. And since silver is approximately 7.5 to 10% less dense than lead, a silver bullet the same size as a standard 5.56 NATO round would be lighter, causing it to lose kinetic energy faster due to air resistance. Now, this could also lead to poor accuracy. And fun fact, this is actually experimented by Ghostbusters, which has shown that silver bullets are noticeably less accurate than lead. This is largely because they do not expand to seal the barrel as effectively as lead, allowing gas to bypass the bullet and causing flight instability. Now, we get to the final point here. High penetration, low expansion. Unlike lead, which mushrooms upon impact to create a wide wound channel, silver rounds act like a more solid armor-piercing projectile that are likely to punch straight through the target without expanding, potentially passing through a werewolf and hitting whatever is behind it. So if, let's say, Toby was behind the Marine, or Shitcole was about to hit Toby and the US Marine shoots him, not only the silver bullet might go past Shitcole, of course it might kill Shitcole, but it might hit Toby in the process despite having poor accuracy. But just because it's inaccurate doesn't mean that there's a chance that it will still hit someone behind it, the werewolf. And assuming that the thick fur could at least slow it down to prevent it from actually reaching Toby, I wouldn't be surprised that if the US Marine just dumps the whole magazine into Shitcole, just for like, let's say 5 to 7 rounds were ended up in Toby's shoulder. Now, the cost in 2026, and silver remains roughly 1,000 times more expensive than lead, making full auto fire with an M4A1, which can fire up to 970 rounds per minute, extremely expensive. And it's so fucking expensive is that I bet that's less, well, at least half. It has to be half than the US spending budget. Anyways, that's about it for today's video. I'll see you in the next one.